I just want to talk about your story a little bit. So tell us how you first became interested in music.
I grew up, and I grew up in Ohio and then moved to New York when I was pretty young, and my stepdad was a kind of rock and roll New York City guy. We had the greatest record collection that I probably have ever seen, and so I had a wonderful, wonderful influence of music all around me, and he was a musician, taught me how to play my first song on the guitar, and I just fell in love with rock and roll and blues and all different kinds of music, and I realized very young that you could get into a bar underage if you were playing. So I was like, I'm gonna be a musician. Yeah.
That's great. I'm gonna just do a quick little, get us to the present. You were discovered in New York and signed by RCA. In 2012, you released your debut EP, the Elle King EP. And then in 2015, you released your first album, Love Stuff, which was a huge hit. It went gold. The hit single, X's and O's, topped the charts, went double platinum. You played for President Obama at the Kennedy Center Honors. The New York Times described you as having Adele's determination and Joan Jett's stomp, Brenda Lee's high-voiced bite, and some AC/DC shriek. I love that. Rolling Stone called you a butt-kicking rocker heroine wailing through her pain. What was it like to have that kind of breakout moment?
It was pretty nuts, I think. I didn't expect any of it, but it also, like, I don't know, it took about a year from X's and O's first coming out, it's the first single, for it to really do anything. And so it took a lot of hard work and a lot of early morning radio stations, multiple radio stations, and then playing a show, staying up later than everybody, getting up earlier. So like a lot of luck, a lot of hard work, and a lot of singing the same song. But I mean, it paid off, and I'm so proud of what that song did. That kind of came upon started out as a joke. I never thought that my record label, which is a very big label, would ever go for anything like that. And
what do you mean the song started out as a joke?
Well, it's a joke to me because I had dated like 4 guys, and it was a true story, and I never thought that my label would go for anything like that. I'd never really heard anything like that or comparable to it on pop radio, and it went to pop radio, so I feel like I kind of just like struck gold a little bit. But I mean, it goes to show you, if you're honest and you are different, and then I think it stands out, and it can do something great.
And for people who don't know the story, tell the story about the song.
Oh, it's about exes wanting to sleep with you again, I guess. If I'm being frank, yeah.
Yes, be frank.
It's what it's about. It got me 2 Grammy nominations, so.
So they're good for something.
Yeah, I can only be myself, I don't know.
But all the success, everything ended up taking a toll on you personally later. You went through a period where you had some struggles. You toured like crazy. You did every promotional thing you could. You suffered from exhaustion. You have talked about having substance abuse issues. You had a brief but volatile marriage that you've spoken about publicly, marked by domestic abuse. Can you tell us about that time a little bit?
Ooh, got me sweating already.
Sorry.
Yeah, I had a very, I was kind of catapulted, and my life became very public. My father is a famous comedian. My father is Rob Schneider. You may know him as Deuce Piccolo, male gigolo. And so I had a pretty interesting upbringing, and I had an interesting insight into Hollywood, and I think I learned a few things of what not to do, but that being said, that's not true, because I did everything you weren't supposed to do. I got married really quickly. I trusted the wrong people, and I didn't believe in myself enough, and I had no idea really the importance of self-love and boundaries and confidence in yourself, and how important that is and how much that bleeds out into your life, or if you're lacking that, how much that can affect your life. And I learned, well, it feels quick now, but really over a year and a half of a very sticky and rough time for me. I really didn't know what was so important in life, and it really does all come back to you being the most important person in your life. And I think there's good selfish and bad selfish, and I had to learn to differentiate the two. And I've been very open in public talking about my issues with mental health and PTSD, and I really struggled with that. But as uncomfortable it is to talk about, I think it's a very important conversation, because whether you have PTSD or whether you've been depressed or anything, I think anyone can relate to feeling sad or feeling less than or not feeling beautiful or not feeling wonderful every day. And I think that that's a pretty relatable issue, I guess. I don't know. I think we're all, not even just women, I think people are human beings, and I think anyone can relate to most emotions sometimes. And so I've just talked about, you know, what I went through, and I made an album. I made an album called Shake the Spirit, and it's basically just taking yourself from the bottom and shaking all the darkness off of you. And I think the reason I do things like this, or even talk as openly as I do, because I think it's really important to show that people can come back from any kind of situation and hopefully be better than they were at first. And I definitely am very happy now, and I feel like I'm the best representation of myself. And I don't know, I think that that's important for music and in pop culture nowadays. I don't know where I'm at on the scale at all, but I think that I have a voice, and it's important to talk about these things.
Yeah, you can have an impact on a lot of people with that kind of journey. And you really pulled yourself out of this. You really did. So tell us how you did that. You moved to LA. I think you ordered 3 pianos in one day to have them delivered.
I did. It was very manic. It was very manic. I don't know. I try not to get too down on myself, because I was struggling, and I was doing drugs, and I was hanging out with people that I shouldn't have been hanging out with, that didn't really care about me, and whatever. It's just my journey. It's just my journey. But I have to, I don't know, maybe be kind to myself, because I was trying at least to take myself out of it. And I do know that now that the most important thing is any type of outlet, I think. I just happen to have music as my creative outlet, and I really am so grateful for that, because I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't have had this opportunity to make a record and be so honest. And it really, I haven't always been amazing with words or talking about my feelings, but for some reason when I write songs, I'll write a song and I'll listen back and I'm like, oh my God, somebody hurt my feelings, or I'll like really learn about myself every time, because it just comes from somewhere, you know? And so I think it's important for people to find any kind of outlet. I don't even know, there's millions of them out there. Music just happens to be mine, and I'm grateful for that.
So what does this album represent for you? Tell us about it.
I think it's just my journey from being, you know, what I felt as a broken person, and being really in the dark, and my journey towards light and love and self-acceptance and self-love, which is just so, so important. And I just can't stress that enough. And what has come into my life since I shifted my, I don't know, everything, and quit putting poison in my body, and really I mean, I would rather be lonely than have people who don't care about me around me. And once I kind of had that thinking, I don't know, I started to love hanging out with myself and doing things that were better for myself and shifting my thinking. And the people that have come into my life, or, you know, you know, I've reconciled with family that, you know, didn't want anything to do with me anymore, and now it's like, oh, we love you, we're back on your team. And it's just been a beautiful change and shift, and it all starts with little by little every day, just more positive thinking and shifting your brain and being nicer to yourself, which I think that everyone could do every day.
There's a story about one track in particular that was really meaningful for you, A Little Bit of Lovin', and it's about emerging hopeful after a breakup or a breakdown. And you changed the lyrics in a way that was particularly meaningful to you. Can you tell us about that?
The original lyrics were, I don't need nobody, I don't need no one, there just ain't no lovin' left in this heart of mine. And it's like, oh wow, that's a good song. And I wrote it like this was the second day of being in the studio, and I was really just on another planet, and this song came through me. And I remember looking at the lyrics at the end of it, and I was like, oh man, I wish I believed that. I don't really want to sing or put anything out in the world that I don't really believe in, because I feel like I wouldn't want to sing it if I don't believe it. And I was like, I wish I believed that. I wish that there was just no love and I could just move on, but I was like, you can't put that out into the world. And it was the first time that I thought about really what I was putting out into the universe and into the world, because I don't know, there's a big thought about that. And so I changed the lyrics to, I don't need nobody, I don't need no one, but I've still got a little bit of lovin' left in me. And I didn't realize that the song hadn't been finished at that point. And so just that, again, one little shift, one positive change that I made, it finished. And I wrote like 3 more minutes of that song. And it's my favorite song, and it's the happiest song on the record to me. And I don't know, it was a pivotal moment for me. And that was when I started to kind of like, oh, I should shift my thinking, and I should be positive and think about what I'm doing, and like, don't put bad stuff out there. And so that was a good. I'm glad you brought that up. It was good.
Thank you. And you recently reconciled with your father a little bit. Tell us about that.
I did. My dad and I were like this forever, and I don't know. It's just when two people are coming with all this baggage, and my dad had this amazing blessing of becoming a father again, and he's got 2 young girls, and I just love them, and there's something to be said about, you know, having kind of pure intentions, and I just wanted to be in their lives. And so when we made it about these little girls, and I don't know, everything kind of just fell into place, and it started to clean me up. And I was like, I want to be somebody that they can look up to, and show them that you don't have to be a size 2, or you don't have to be, in my case, tall to be anybody, or you know, you don't have to look like the mold or sing like the mold or be the mold. You can be anything you want. You can be yourself, and you can be successful. And showcase your individuality and your differences. I think that's what makes the world really beautiful.
He says that people now recognize him as Elle King's dad.
Yeah, finally. Sweet, sweet.
And he says your new music left him breathless. He really is proud of you.
I don't think he knows, he still doesn't know what to say about it, but he's very, very proud, and I don't know. I sing about some things that are pretty shocking for a parent, so I'm just glad he's on board. He's like he's very pro me. It's really sweet.
That's great.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the songs you're going to play for us?
Well, I'm going to sing 2 songs. One song is obviously X's and O's. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Raise your hand. Yeah, we're going to hear the hit.
And then another song that I'm going to sing is a song that I really love. I spent a lot of time in the desert this last year. I live in Los Angeles, and I feel like I go out there to dry out. And it was a pretty influential place for me. And so I wrote this song. It's kind of like a Western song, and it's the lyrics are, I ain't nobody's baby, ooh baby, I'm an outlaw. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever called you baby and you don't want them to call you baby. It's like, don't call me baby, because I'll kick your ass, pretty much.
So what does the future hold for Elle King? Where do you go from here? Things seem to be going really well for you right now.
I have no idea, but I think there's something great about that. I know things that I want to do. I want to continue to play music. I want to just always make music, write songs, and I'm on a very interesting path. I don't know, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to know. I don't know. I'll always make music, though, definitely.
That's great. There's been some talk about women in the Grammys, you know, not getting enough nominations. That seems to be changing. Do you have thoughts on that? I mean, you know, being a female performer.
Well, when the first year that I got nominated twice, and there were 3 females in the rock categories, and Brittany Howard and Alabama Shakes won that year, I think for both categories, which was awesome. They deserved it. So I don't know. Every year I feel like I see more strong women coming out and kind of taking the throne. For a long time, I didn't understand that guys, like, I thought everybody was my friend when I was coming up, and then I started to see that they weren't really my friend, and they saw me as competition, and they didn't take me seriously, and that was the wrong move, because I'm very capable. I can sing just as good, if not better, and louder than a lot of men, and I don't think that it's like this huge driving force in me. But I still get it. Sometimes people don't take me, you know, a lot of dudes don't take me seriously in rock and roll, and I think that that's a big mistake, and I don't forget it, you know?
That's great. We love it. We love it.
Thank you.
Well, without further ado, thank you, Elle, for being here. We can't wait to hear you sing.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Round of applause for Elle.
Thank you.